Good news.
Did Dell take back their naming scheme?
Oh no, that would be great news. That would qualify as exceptional news.
Yep.
The good news here is I'm getting another 3 to 5 inches of snow tomorrow because that's
Yay! I
what I
don't
was
think you
looking
know what
for.
good news means. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That means we're probably getting something too.
kid's really excited about this, but
Yeah, she would be. Incredible. What's happening?
anyways, Nintendo Switch 2 is going to show up like any minute now, apparently, because like GameStop's showing off accessories and whatever else, and so that thing's
Yeah, and apparently looks exactly like the other one. So,
well. The other one
a little
sold pretty
bigger, I
well,
guess.
so
Hmm?
the other one sold pretty well. I can't imagine.
That's true. It did pretty good.
It's like, I mean, they're
Onto
not going to
something.
Windows 8 this thing, so
Nice.
I thought that was pretty good too. Speaking of handhelds, so Microsoft did or Xbox did their roundtable. Was that a Lenovo event or whatever, where they announced some hardware that can run Steam OS and Windows side by side, which I'm sure made Microsoft super happy.
Oh yeah, that must have been awesome.
Yeah, where they basically came out and said, look, we're doing the thing that we all kind of knew we were going to do anyways, where we're going to take the Xbox experience, bring it over to Windows, and then we'll shrink it down for handhelds. And
Right.
that'll start showing up later this year.
I mean, technically, it started showing up about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
But okay, whatever. And the bigger problem is the operating system. We talked about this, right? Like they need like a modular Xbox OS that's PC based, and I bet they get there, and I bet it runs on ARM.
Yeah, I think it's a given at this point that they'll get there. The super interesting thing, which again is completely given and obvious, is that they want one library to rule them all. So finally, your Xbox library of games should be able to be playable on everything, but as of right now, you can't.
Who's the gamer that's their one library? Like if you actually play PC games, this is a thing for you, and you're making one choice. It's never going to be Xbox.
No, it's not going to be No.
But whatever. Not that it matters. That's one of the advantages of the PC platform, right? You have all these different choices. Anyone who plays games on PCs probably has games in all the major stores or endpoints, whatever, and probably may or may not subscribe to some service, like whatever it is, or one or more, even in some cases. But I think the dream here is the same as it was for like Apple TV or like a Roku device, where it'd be really neat, like for the gamer, if you could have this one place where everything showed up, no matter where it came from. So we keep trying. It'll be like a Plex, for games, basically.
All right, this sweet segue brought to you by Interruptions. Also coming this week, Paul Thurrott, or announced this week, I should say, is there's a developer direct happening January 23rd. Although, interestingly, they are teasing by literally saying they're going to talk about a game that has not been announced at this event.
Hello for PlayStation. Sorry. No, probably not.
I will tell you,
third-party stuff, isn't it?
The Doom game is supposed to be talked about, I thought.
Ooh, yeah, but they've talked about that, right?
Yeah, but that's like probably I don't know. I'm interested in the Doom one just because it's Doom, right? Doom is Doom.
Yeah.
Doom is one of those few games like you can look at the box art and say, yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Like we're just
like I want to play this or I don't.
Like we're gonna blow up monsters with double barrel shotguns. I can do that. Yeah. So, anyways, that's January 23rd. That's what, 3 weeks? Is it 3 weeks? 2 weeks.
This is a story I hope to write today that AMD has seen unprecedented demand for their chips, right? And so AMD is powering these new handhelds that the PC makers are making for gaming devices, right? And AMD, if I'm not mistaken, aren't they the processor behind the Xbox and the PlayStation now too?
That is correct.
Yeah. So they've been kind of on a roll, right? And so, but I guess they're at CES and someone said, it seems like you guys are all over the place now. Like you're going gangbusters. Like, why is everything going so well? And they were like, well, we knew what we had was great, but we didn't count on Intel just throwing up a shit bomb. Like they were like, which is not the way they said it, but
Right.
like they were like between Lunar Lake and Arrow Lake, they were like, yikes. So they're ramping up production now because everybody has suddenly pivoted over to AMD, as they should, because that's what I've seen this past year too. Like the AMD stuff is amazing. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, the other thing related to this, I think it came out yesterday or the day before. The
Mhm.
TSMC plant in Arizona, by the way, is now building chips, I think, for Apple for their watch, and I think the A16
Yeah, I
as
saw that.
well. So
Okay.
notable.
I wonder what's their manufacturing process in the US? Is it the same as what they have in Taiwan, or is it different? Or
I
yeah,
thought
maybe
it
not.
was not as advanced, but
Right.
advanced enough to do whatever.
It's hard with all those giant American fingers to try to get the
Yeah,
chips to
it's
respond.
real difficult to
They
get
just
down to
like
that
fumble finger them all over the place.
nanometers.
That's probably not how they're made.
Probably
I
not.
don't know. I'm not a hardware expert, but yeah, I don't. Yeah, I saw something about that, but I don't know where they're at. I mean, you know, Intel getting that Chips Act subsidy was a big
Hmm.
loans, whatever, big news. But they're not the only ones. I mean, Samsung, TSMC, several others have also gotten subsidies of whatever kind, and getting TSMC in the U.S. is, you know,
It's a big deal for the U.S. to get that
yep,
done and to
yeah,
have it manufacturing. Now, the interesting thing is, okay, Paul,
hmm
they uh, they build these chips in Arizona. Then where do they go? Like they're not
yeah. Well, that's the thing. Ideally, they're going the shortest geographical distance possible, right? So
right.
they could serve North, South America, possibly Europe, maybe. What you don't want to see them is going back to Asia, not because we don't want them in Asia, but just because the point of this partly should be to not be shipping stuff all over the
Right.
world. Um, but yeah, that's it. I mean, they have to build out these capacities, so I don't think right now it's probably optimal.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's the first step, though, if there ever would be that manufacturing coming back, at least for us in the U.S., onshoring it.
Yeah.
Getting the chips here is a big deal, but there's a
Oh
lot
yeah.
of other stuff besides chips that are needed. So,
Yeah.
like literally everything.
Yeah, it's amazing. Well, the way you can know this is kind of a slow boil process without knowing anything about how it works is just to see what Apple's doing. Apple, the biggest, most powerful company in this area, it's not like they flipped a switch and iPhones are being made in some other country now. They're doing that, but
Right.
it's taking years and years. So
Aren't
these
they
things
building in
take time.
India too now? And they've
Yeah, I think
expanded
yeah,
elsewhere.
India's one, and I feel like I could be wrong about this one. For some reason, I thought Vietnam was one of the countries too.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, eventually the goal, I assume, is to get these things spread out, right? And so it'd be, I don't really see this happening, but it'd be kind of neat if we could have U.S. plants building chips for this market, and then Apple could brag about how much CO2 they're saving or whatever, which is fine because it astonishes me to this day that I can order a new Apple product, see it ship from Shenzhen, China, or wherever, and then arrive on my doorstep like a day and a half later. Um, Arizona would be a little better, a
Yeah, a
lot
little
better,
bit.
probably. Yeah.
Fewer boats.
Yeah. Well, just fewer exhaust, fewer,
Yeah.
fewer everything.
You could also buy some Surface hardware potentially at the end of this month, which is
Yeah. I don't,
business stuff. It's probably all their Lunar Lake stuff, which is
it's got to
doing
be
really
Lunar
well.
Lake. Yeah. So for people who don't remember, Microsoft in March, I think, announced Meteor Lake versions of Surface Pro and Surface Laptop, which were what, 10 and 6? Or did they actually have I don't remember the exact numbers, but
Hmm.
2 months later, 3 months later, 2 months later, they announced the Snapdragon versions, which I know are Pro 11 and Laptop 7. And I mean, obviously, they're going to do a Lunar Lake, Arrow Lake, whatever it is, probably Lunar Lake version.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of Surface rev in a short period of time, if that's what it is. But you have to kind of wonder. It's for business, for one thing, so that limits it somewhat. We're not going to get like some fun consumer device tablet thing, but like what else? I think we're overdue for like a Surface Studio, Surface Laptop Studio,
Hmm.
uh, rev. Right, that thing was, what was that, on 13th gen, 11th gen? I don't know. It was like a long time ago.
Yeah,
Like,
it's been a minute. That's for
yeah,
sure.
it was a pre Copilot plus PC like NPU that was tacked onto the motherboard that I don't remember the details, but all it was good for was Windows Studio Effects.
Yeah, that's all we're
So
all
maybe
good
that,
for. Is
like a almost workstation class. I don't know.